Someone asked me to make this video a long time ago, and it's finally here. In this video, I will tell you about the life and creations of one of the most important people in the Pokemon franchise, Takeshi Shudo. But before I do, fair warning, this video will talk about alcohol and substance abuse. If you're not okay with that, then I'm sorry, but this video is not for you. Takeshi Shudo was the chief writer for Pokemon from the start of the show until 2002. With episode 244 being his last work on Pokemon. He was the writer who started everything. And a piece of fun fact not everyone knows, he actually created Team Rocket. And he made them with more complex personalities to tailor to adults. And at this point in his life, he was just a man doing his job. Until one of, if not the biggest tragedy in Pokemon took place. The horrifying Porygon episode. You may have thought that this was just some creepypasta or fake stuff, but this actually happened. During what was a normal episode, strong flashing lights would appear, sending over 700 people to the hospital with seizures. Pokemon had no idea how to deal with this situation, and many believing that this was the end for Pokemon. However, Shudo saw an opportunity and took it. The first Pokemon movie. You see, this situation allowed Shudo to write the first movie the way he wanted, with a darker story and a deeper plot. Shudo himself even said that if it wasn't for the circumstances, they would have never allowed him to do it. But he did, and it was a huge success, possibly saving the entire franchise. And this also gave him almost full creative freedom in the second movie. There's a lot I can say about the second movie. For example, how Shudo wanted to write Ash out of the story. But I think the topic of Lugia and what followed is what is really relevant here. Because of his freedom, Shudo decided to create Lugia, or as he called it, Pokemon X, which was also referenced in the anime. Lugia was his crown jewel, a creation that for him went beyond Pokemon. According to him, it was a symbol of life, but also coexistence. A maternal Pokemon. Even though it is believed that he took inspiration from Ryujin, a god in the Japanese mythology, he viewed Lugia as a female, and being exclusive to the movie. This is also backed up by a hacker who released a demo for the Gen 2 games where Lugia was missing, because it was never intended to be in the games in the first place. But Lugia did make it into the games, and not only that, it was given a male voice actor. It might be difficult for fans and consumers of the franchise to understand what this actually did to Shudo, which is why I will read it in his own words that was translated from his blog. One of the regrets I had about writing the second movie was that I didn't push back on the gender assigned to Lugia. Although its gender isn't addressed in the plot, it's given a male voice. It's a maternal Pokemon. To make matters worse, using a male voice actor for Lugia was a decision made during a big meeting with many participants. Advertisements had already aired, it was too late. I was gulping alcohol and drugs and started to feel like I wanted to die. But sadly, this wasn't the first time. We learned in other blog posts from Shudo that has been translated that sadly, he was drinking way before this. He would abuse legal tranquilizers and be intoxicated while writing not just the second movie, but also the first, and the third, and the anime itself. Shudo had many demons. At one point, he was even hospitalized because of his obsession with trying to find a way to make the series last as long as the producers wanted. And he wanted to end the series multiple times, already in the first movie and in the anime. The ending in the first movie even included Ash looking back at his journey as an adult, only to wake up again in the next morning as a kid, not to catch Pokemon, but to discover the meaning of existence and how to coexist with others. Another ending included the Pokemon rebelling in some sort of war against their trainers. The original script for the third movie was also entirely different. It had dinosaurs in it. And as much as Shudo loved to talk about his work, we may never know what he had originally planned for the third movie. Because on October 29th, 2010, Takeshi Shudo collapsed, suffering a subarachnoid hemorrhage often caused by smoking and alcohol abuse, leading many to believe that the demons he had were even bigger than we realized. However, to end things off, Shudo was credited in the 2017 movie I Choose You, as he was the writer for the very first episode, as well as the 2019 remake of Mewtwo Strikes Back, which of course he also wrote. I know that the subject for this video is a little bit darker than what I normally do, but I feel like the Takeshi Shudo story is an incredible story and I have wanted to share it for a long time, so I hope you enjoyed.
I see now that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are.